You might want to pause the video and try this one on your own. Remember, you start with your parentheses. Parentheses, those are grouping symbols just like brackets. So you're going to go to your brackets. So write this one, try it on your own if you need to. Pause the video. Okay, so the 8 minus 2, if you got a 6 here, you didn't follow order of operations. This is going to be, your very last step is going to take this -2 and multiply it times the one number that you get within these brackets. So inside the brackets, that's my first grouping symbol, I go to the innermost grouping symbols right there. So once you get in the brackets, you follow the order operations again. So parentheses, so I'm going to have 4 minus 6, then I have my parentheses. Well, inside the parentheses, I've got to follow order of operations. I have an exponent and then subtraction. So I need to do the exponent first. 3 squared, remember, is 3 times 3, which is 9. So that's 9 minus 5. I'm going to keep going. 8 minus 2 times my brackets here. And within the brackets, I go to the parentheses. 4 minus 6. Notice how that 6 is right beside the parentheses. That means once I get that, what's in parentheses down to one number, I multiply it times that 6. So 9 minus 4 is 4. So it's getting smaller. 8 minus 2. I'm going to change these brackets to parentheses. I'm going to do the multiplication first. So that's 4 minus 24. And I take that sign in front of that 6 with it. So I do -6 times +4 gives me -24. That way I don't have double signs there. So 8 minus 2 and 4 minus 24, signs are different. Subtract, take the sign of the larger. 24 is bigger, sign in front of it's negative. So that would be a -20. So I have 8 minus 2 times -20. So subtraction, multiplication, this is 8. Now I'm going to take that -2 times the -20 so that I don't have double signs. That gives me a negative times negative is positive, and when I multiply it comes out, so positive 40. So that gives me an answer of 48. That's an 8. This one has parentheses, exponents, multiplying, adding, and subtracting. So we're going to start with the parentheses right here. We're going to do what's in parentheses. Okay. So I'm going to bring down my -5. And 2 plus 1 is 3. I'm going to keep that in parentheses because of the exponent, and the -5 is right beside the 3. Bring down the +6. And inside here, I'm going to have -3 minus 2. Signs are alike, so we add, take the common sign, so that's going to be -5. When you add and subtract, if your signs are alike, you add, take the common sign. When you add and subtract, if your signs are different, you subtract, take the sign of the larger. So now we've gotten rid of our parentheses. See how these have gone away, and they are down to one number. So next is exponents. So, and this is important, you don't want to multiply and get -15 and then square that. That will give you the wrong answer. So you're going to have -5. You're still going to have this in parentheses, only you're going to square it. So 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. So you're going to write a 9 in here, and the exponent goes away. Then +6. Notice how all of that is in parentheses, that -5. So it's -5 that's being squared. So that means -5 times -5. So that's a +25. So we're going to put +25 in here. And the exponent and the sign have gone away now. So now we have multiplication, and here's multiplication. So -5 times 9 is -45. +6 times 25, that's going to be a positive. And 6 times 25 will be, well, 6 times 5 is 30, 12, 34, 15, 150. Now we have just adding and subtracting left, because the parentheses gave us the multiplication. Once we multiplied, it came out of the parentheses, so now it's adding, subtracting. Signs are different, so we're going to subtract. Remember, it's always the biggest number, if you're doing it by hand, then the smaller number. Okay, or use your calculator. If you're using your calculator, since this negative 45 is first, you might, it depends on your calculator. Some you can put the negative first and it will work. Some you have to use the key that is a plus minus. It looks like that, plus minus. So put in 45, hit the plus minus key, and now that will make it look like a negative 45. And then do plus 150. And that should give you the right answer. If you don't have a calculator, you're doing it by hand. 0 minus 5 you can't do, so you borrow from the 5, it becomes a 4. And you add 10 to that 0, so that's 10 minus 5 is 5. 4 minus 4 is 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. Now, the sign in front of the larger number, the 150, is a plus, so that's going to be a positive 105 for answer. And you should have a plus 105 over here if you did it the calculator. What happens a lot of times, which is wrong, people will put in 45 and they go, oh, I'm subtracting. And they'll go minus 150, and the calculator will give them a negative 105, and they think it's a negative, but they put it in the calculator wrong, okay? So keep that in mind. If you have questions about your calculator, email me or come see me in my office, and I'll help you work out your calculator, how it works. They work differently. We have brackets and parentheses. It looks complicated, but it's not. Again, right here, they try to trick you and make you go, oh, that's going to be 0. Don't do it. Your last step is going to be to multiply 3, this 3 right here, times the number you get in these brackets. So now inside the brackets, order of operations, we're going to go to this set of parentheses. So I'm going to bring down negative 8 plus 1. That 1 is right beside, so I know when I get my answer in here, I'm going to multiply it times the 1. Now, they have another set here, but they put it in parentheses because they wanted you to square not only the 2, but the negative 2. So it is negative 2 squared, which means negative 2 times negative 2. Sorry about the plane going over. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So this is really going to be 4 minus 1. So I have negative 3 plus 3. In brackets, I have negative 8 plus 1. And then 4 minus 1 is 3. Now, some of you can do several steps here. I'm putting every single step. Some of you can combine it. If you're combining it, getting the right answer, that's great. If you're trying to combine steps, you're not getting the right answer, go back to doing it step by step. So negative 3 plus 3, bracket, negative 8 plus 1 times 3. So we're going to do that. Negative 8, 1 times 3 is plus 3. So negative 3 plus 3, I'm going to change this to parentheses. Negative 8 plus 3, signs are different, subtract, take the sign of the larger. 8 minus 3 is 5, 8's bigger, so that's a negative 5. I'm going to go out to the side here. So that is negative 3 plus 3 times negative 5. So that would be negative 3. 3 times negative 5. Positive times a negative is negative. 3 times 5 is 15. So signs are alike now. I'm going to add, take the common sign. I get a negative 18. Order of operations. Parentheses, well, there's just one thing in the parentheses, 5 over 3, so nothing to do there. But exponents are next, and that is an exponent. So I'm going to have 4 over 15 divided by 18 over 5 plus, now this is 5 cubed squared, not 5 cubed, sorry, 5 over 3 squared, 5/3 squared. So that means 5/3 times 5/3. Don't cancel anything, multiply across. 5 times 5 is 25, 3 times 3 is 9. So that's going to be 25 over 9. Now notice, there's a plus and there's a times, so I don't have to keep it in parentheses. And then I'm going to bring down my 130, 1 over 30. All right, so parentheses taken care of. Exponents, multiply or divide starting at the left. Well, this is division, so let's do that. When you divide fractions, remember you change it to multiplication, and you flip this second fraction. So that becomes 5 over 18. And then plus 25 over 9 times 130. 1 over 30. I keep saying 130. So this is multiplication, and this is multiplication. And then once I get those two answers, I'm going to add them together. So I'm going to cancel now. Let me change colors. 15 and 5 can cancel. Now, I can't cancel over here. This right here is a separate problem. So I can't cancel this 18 with anything over here. So 5 will go into 5 once. 5 goes into 15 3 times. 4 and 18, 2 will go into 4 twice. And 2 will go into 18 9 times. So that's going to give me 2 times 1 is 2. 9 times 3 is 27. Bring down my plus. Now over here, let's do a different color. 25 and 30. Well, 5 will go into 25 5 times. Oops, wrong one. 5 will go into 25 5 times, and 5 goes into 30 6 times. 5 won't cancel with the 9 or the 6, so that's all we can do. So 5 times 1 is 5, and 9 times 6 is 54. So let's write this up here. We have 2 over 27 plus 5 over 54. Now it looks like it's going to be hard, but get your calculator out if you need to. Always when you're getting a common denominator, you have to have that when you add and subtract. Look at the larger number and see if the smaller will divide evenly into it. Well, 27 times 2 equals 54. So 54 is going to be your common denominator. So 5 will stay, but we have to multiply 27 by 2 to get 54, so we've got to change the numerator. 2 times 2 is 4. So then when we add our numerators, 4 plus 5 is 9 over 54, and we can reduce that fraction. 9 will go into 9 once, and 9 goes into 54 6 times. So 1 over 6 is our answer. So take a minute and look at that. All right, we're finding the area of a trapezoid. A trapezoid has 4 sides. 2 of the sides are parallel, and the other 2 are not. That's what makes it a trapezoid. Otherwise, it'd just be a rectangle. So on the 2 sides that are parallel, those are what you're going to use. And you'll notice these 2 sides, this small b here, whoops, and this small b here, and the large b here, those are your bases. So those are the 2 parallel sides. The height is always connected between those 2 bases. So you can see the h there. So this 10.4 is your h. Your small b is your 5.2. That's a small base. And your large b is the 13. The other 2 sides you don't need. They're just extra numbers there that you don't need for this problem. So also, when you look at the formula, this book, for some reason, gives the h at the end. I've always seen it with the h right beside the 1/2. 1/2 times the height times the sum of the bases. Or I've seen it also where they're multiplying the height times the sum of the bases and divide by 2. Either way, any of these 3 will give you the right answer. So we need to just put our numbers in correctly. Let's change colors so it'll be easier to see. So we're looking for the area, and we have 1/2 times the height, which is 10.4, times the bases added together. So the small base is 5.2 plus your 13. So we're going to do what's in parentheses first. So we're going to add the 5.2 and the 13. Now, we'll talk about that in a minute. So 10.4 times 5.2 times 13. Use your calculator. If you don't have that, 13, there's no decimal, so it's understood to be at the end. And then 5.2, line it up, the decimal. So 2 plus 0 is 2. 3 plus 5 is 8, and bring down the 1. So 5.2 plus 13 is 18.2. Now, since these are all decimals, I would change 1/2 to 0.5 because 1/2 equals 0.5. If you take 1, divide by 2, you get 0.5. So you could change this to 0.5 times 10.4 times 18.2 and do that in your calculator. So I'm going to stop it and give you time to do that, and I'm going to go do that. So this multiplied together gives me 189.28 and then times 0.5. Now I did it this way so you could see, you didn't have to, you could do 0.5 times 10.4 times 18.2. You'll get the right answer. But I did this way just so you could see what you're going to do. If you multiply 189.28, it's going to cut it in half. That's why you see some of these with the 2 here, because you just take this answer and divide by 2. And if you divide by 2 or you multiply by 0.5, you still get the same answer of 94.64. Now we've got to look and see, does it tell us to round anywhere in here? I don't see where it says to round at all, so I'm going to put that entire answer 94.64.